Hello and welcome to Comfort Legacies with Fay Michelle. Today we have our beautiful guest, Miss Michelle Knight. Ha! We got that Michelle thing going on in common.
Yes.
So I am going to turn it over and let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Michelle Knight. I am the author of Shh Don't Tell. This book was created for this month, particularly because of Mental Health Month awareness. And this book was created to provide awareness of child molestation and child rape. I am a product or survivor, rather, of child. And so I created this because I have two queens that I'm raising. And I wanted them to be aware of, especially my 12-year-old. My other daughter is 20. I wanted her to be aware of her surroundings. I wanted her to know warning signs of situations that she may be in, even though I don't leave her with other people. But I also want to be able to allow other children to know signs that they may be in danger and to allow parents to open a conversation. It's a gentle book to allow parents to have a conversation with their children. My 12-year-old absolutely loves the book. It allows for a question answer, if you may. I have several children's books. This is the one I just created for this mental health month.
The book was published this month.
Yes, it actually went into the library this month as well. I did a book release in Pittsburgh with I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. His name is Robert Ashby with
Yes.
at the Sidewalk Librarian. He is a phenomenal dude. I love him. I love him. I call him Uncle Robert because once I meet you, you become family, and now you're auntie. So yes,
Okay. All right.
yeah. So we flew, and he made the red carpet. He did the red carpet for me because
Awesome.
he was excited to have this type of book placed into the library. So the book is available in any library around the United States. So go to your local library, ask for the book. It's also available on Amazon as well as my website, bmrbookcase.com.
Okay. Can you hold the book up?
Yes.
Shh, don't tell. And what is that? Is that hands? Oh,
Yes. So the representation behind the book, if I'm holding it correctly, the
yes.
representation behind the book is most young kids, especially like my 12-year-old and my 20-year-old, and even my 26-year-old. Do you believe I have a 26-year-old? Oh my God. But
Right.
most kids
Okay.
value the thought of a pinky promise. Mommy
Oh,
does pinky
pinky promise.
promise.
Oh, that's what it
Pinky
is.
promise, pinky promise. So
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
people utilize that on kids. You have to pinky promise me that you'll never tell. And
Swear.
kids hold pinky promises to the day they die. And
Ah.
so when you pinky promise with somebody, it's like, oh my God, I can't break this pinky promise. It's like breaking a sacred secret.
Oh.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, which don't tell, most of the time, people who have done something to an innocent person, they tell them, Shh, don't tell. Else I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to kill your family, or I'm going to tell this revealing secret about you, or I'm going to tell your mom you done something, or whatever the case may be. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
shh, don't tell kind of thing. So in between the shh, don't tell and in between the pinky promise, they're kind of caught in between the catch-22, which
Yeah.
makes them not want to use their voice or utilize their voice to say anything. And so it took me 40 years to even
Mm-hmm.
reveal to my parents that something even happened to me. So
Mm-hmm.
my husband of forever years, he was my first boyfriend when I was young. Now he knew this happened to me several years ago. I told him, and he probably was the only person that I knew because he was my best friend when I was 14. Um, and we're married now. It took us, that's a whole nother show. But
Mm-hmm.
he was the only person. So as I got older, I told one other person, which was my sister, and I was like almost 40. And then I eventually told my 20-year-old daughter because
Mm-hmm.
it came out that it happened to her. And it
Mm,
hurt me because I wish I would have taught her the signs and to know,
that,
what to look for. And it didn't happen through a family member. It happened with one of her friends. And had she knew what to do or the signs to look for, or, you know, just the whole scenario, then she could have gotten out and it wouldn't have never happened to her. So to make
mhm.
sure and to ensure that it didn't happen to my 12-year-old, I made sure we had the conversation. In
Okay.
America, every 68 seconds, a child rape is happening to a young child, 6 years old and above. And the saddest part about it, 9 times out of 10, they know who it is. It's a family friend, a family member, or somebody that they know. And if the parents would have a conversation, hence this book that was designed to make a gentle conversation, then we can alleviate and hopefully stop it.
Hmm. Okay. I did hear your daughter reading through some of the book on
She
your reel.
did.
So that
Hmm.
was, and she did a very good job.
She
And
loves the
I
book.
was really surprised that it was a child tempered book.
Hmm.
And because I heard the title before, but I thought it was more of an adult nature. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, it's really something, a tool that can be used to teach and assist and help children along the way. And I think that that was excellent way of being able to reach out. Now, can you give us a little sneak peek of just maybe a page or two?
Well, I can actually read the back of it to tell
Oh,
you, and
sure.
it'll give you. So it says, let me take
I'll
my
take
glasses off.
anything. I'm
Look,
good. I'll take anything.
look, let me take the glasses off because I can't see with the glasses. So it says, "Shh Don't Tell" by Michelle Knight shares the heart-rending story of Riley, a 12-year-old girl sexually abused by her half-brother Josh. One afternoon, Josh was entrusted to watch his sister, but during their time together, Josh turned from brother to predator, manipulating and raping Riley in her bedroom. Like many abuse victims, overwhelming fear and shame led Riley to keep the abuse a secret. Through Riley's abuse, Shh Don't Tell declares a powerful message for all children to know and learn. Your voice matters. Abuse is not your fault, and you should never keep secrets that cause emotional and physical harm to you or anyone else. So basically, and I even posted on the website the other day. I did a post and I pulled it off because I think some people interpret it the incorrect way. So I created a post that had me with a shirt with God on it. And I was in my like a black bathing suit underwear, with the books around me. And my purpose for that was to tell people I'm 40 now and I still had the don't tell. And now you don't want your children to be 40 to get to tell you what happened to them. So the message that I posted on there was basically and I got a couple people that said they liked it, but the message behind it was at the end of mental health month, as the end of mental health month quickly approaches, issues such as child sexual trauma continues to happen. Every 68 seconds, to be precise, a child is raped or molested by someone they know. A family member, friend, but rarely tell anyone. Shh Don't Tell was written to give a voice to those who swore not to tell, were threatened, made to pinky promise, because a pinky promise lasts forever. I am your voice. Know the signs. This stops now. Let's save our kings and queens. So I guess they would have preferred to see my daughter laying there versus me laying there. But I didn't want to put my daughter in that situation. Does that make sense? I would
Uh,
have rather. Go ahead.
sure. I just didn't understand. You said it was a black T-shirt with
No, it was a
the
T-shirt that had God saves me. I love God. I have faith. God saved me. And then
right.
I had all of my books circled around me to say, "Shh, don't tell." And that's why I posted the message next to it saying, "I am your voice. Tell everyone I'm speaking. This stops now." So I'm giving you permission to talk. I'm giving you
Hmm.
permission to speak. And so
I
it
thought you
gets,
said it had a bikini bottom or something like
no,
that.
it was me in like my underwear. In the book, it states like, okay.
Mm.
So in the
Yes.
book, it has, I'm gonna just choose a random page.
Mm.
Um, it says, it sounds stupid, but I'll play. Riley said, a bit suspicious. So, how do you play? I have to tell you the rules first, Josh said. You must listen very carefully because it's a secret game for teenagers. You said you wanted to be treated more like an adult, right? Josh asked. Yeah, duh, Riley explained. I hate being treated like a kid. You'll be the first 11-year-old, Josh said, because Riley interrupted. Stop, I'm almost 12. I'm practically a woman, Riley demanded. Okay, okay, almost 12 years old. To play this game, Josh finished. First, you must promise not to tell anyone, or the chain will be broken. If you tell anyone you played this secret game, one of your family members will die. Once the chain is broken, everyone will know who broke the chain, Josh instructed in a serious tone. No way, Riley said in fear. I'm telling on you. You know what? Let's stick to the kitty stuff and play the PlayStation, Josh said, feeling frustrated. No, no, I want to play. I promise to listen to the rules, cried Riley. Fine, raise your right hand and repeat after me. Josh said, I, Riley Cole, I, Riley Cole, repeated, promise to keep the riding the bull game a secret. Take this to my grave. If I tell, I could lose a family member from breaking the chain. Josh said. Riley repeated the pact, feeling like a grown up. That's it, Josh exclaimed. Now let's seal the deal with the pinky promise, he said. And that's the pinky promise.
Wow.
Hmm.
That was mind blowing. How old was Josh?
Josh was 18.
Oh, 18. Okay, because that makes a lot more sense because I'm like a teenager at that time.
Hmm.
Um, that took a lot of thought to come up with something like that.
Right.
It was a very elaborate scheme. It's
Right.
like,
Josh was 18 going on 19.
okay,
He was out of high school,
oh
and
yeah,
she was 11 and going on 12. She hadn't seen Josh for a while because he was her
right,
stepbrother. And so she
right,
was excited to see him, and
yeah,
she wanted to play the PlayStation, but he insisted it was kiddie games. But
yeah,
she in her mind, it wasn't kiddie games. But he
right.
made her feel, he changed her mind, her thinking. You want to
Because
see
she
what
wanted
kitty.
to be a teenager.
Right. And so
She
when
wanted
he
to be
threw,
like that as an adult.
right, when
Hmm.
he threw in, let's play this teenager game, you'll be the first to be able to play this teenager game, then let's play it. But then when he got frustrated and said, you know what, let's stick to the kitty games and don't worry about it. No, 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 never mind. That's okay. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. I'm not scared anymore. I'm a teenager. If this is gonna make me a true teenager, let's go with it. And
Right.
that was the trickery. So some people, they go through the trickery games, and
Yeah.
that's what happened. He played the
Very
trickery on her.
manipulative.
Hmm.
Very manipulative. Wow. You just published this book. And you said you have two other books?
Actually, I have 7 books. I have but they're all in different stages. I have 2 books that were out. They had to be pulled back due to illustration issues. But they're about to be back on the shelf hopefully by mid-June. The first one is called God Don't Make Junk. And that's for children who have been bullied, are in a situation with family issues, and they don't have that push from their family, and they feel less than worth, and they're depressed, and they just don't have that extra person to say I love you. It's a message to tell them God don't make junk. You were created uniquely and purposely designed, and that God has something special for you. You just need to hold on and see what your worth is. God made you. You just have to figure out what it is in your purpose. Just hold on. We love you, and God loves you too. And the
Okay.
second book is The Friendship Tree. The Friendship Tree is basically teaching children how to choose their friends wisely. When I was growing up, my mom and my grandmother used to tell me all the time, you don't have friends, you have associates. And so my grandmother, she taught me there are three types of people. You have your leaf, you have your branch, and you have your root. So with the leaf
Mm-hmm.
people, they just go with the wind. They just
Let
kind of go with the
flow
crowd.
away.
Yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
you have a whole bunch of candy, they're gonna sit there and eat your candy, and then they're gonna go to the next person that has the most candy or the most popularity. So don't let those type of people be in your zone or hurt your feelings because you know
Right.
they're a leaf. They're just gonna blow away. Then you have your branch. Your branch, they break easy. And my daughter, her thought with it is, okay, mama, can you duct tape a branch back on? Yeah, you can, but eventually that duct tape gonna run out. So she's like, well, okay, I'll just leave them as a branch, and if they break, they break. So with the branches, when you meet a branch, those are the people who get mad when they can't have their way. They come over to your house, they destroy your house, and when it's time to clean up, they're like, this your house. I don't have to clean up. Or, you're at school and, well, if you don't want to come where I want to go, then I don't want to be your friend. And then they come back about 3 or 4 days and say, okay, let's be friends again. Like nothing ever happened.
Yes.
So, those branches, they're not
Mm-hmm.
meant to be in your life forever. My grandmother always said in between first grade and 12th grade, you're going to interact with about 100 people. But by the time you make it to 12th grade, you may have two of those people in your life, which brings you to the root. Your root is that person that's your ride or die who has been there from the first grade to the 12th grade, and you may even go to college with. And they're there when you're sick, y'all hungry at lunchtime together. If y'all get one pizza, you can split it up, and y'all half of your stomach is full and half of their stomach is full. If you don't have a car, they don't have a car. It's just y'all that root, y'all intertwine, y'all know each other's secrets, y'all. It's a bind. And you don't meet many of those. If you have more than five on your finger, you have too many. Everybody is not to be a personal stamp in your life. Some people are seasonal postcards.
Yep.
So that book has the mom explaining what each person is, because the young lady got hurt thinking that her fifth grade friends would carry on with her to sixth grade, and they didn't. When they got to sixth grade, they went their own ways, and her feelings was hurt because she didn't understand why one had boobs and why the other one met other people when she was still 4'11" and no
Yes.
boobs, like my 12-year-old. My 12-year-old has no boobs, and she's like, I'm seventh grade, no boobs. I'm just short, and people are looking up, trying to find me. But she's a gymnast. So with her being a gymnast, you're short and you have no boobs. So,
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
helped her understand not to get hurt by different people. Never let a man hurt your feelings. So it's
Yes.
just, it helped her. It's helping her grow.
Mm.
Um, she actually wrote a book as well. And her book is called Why I Don't Like Being the Baby. She's the last of my children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she so hates being the baby because her siblings, they're 6 years apart.
Mm.
So my son is 26, my daughter is 20, and she's 12. And so she has a dog. And that's it. She said the dog doesn't answer back. She wants to go places. And she's stuck here with me and my husband, the old people. And so she just doesn't like it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and then she's an introvert. So it's a little bit different for her because she doesn't go out. She's more worried about her surroundings and stuff like that. So her book is coming out. I also have the book of Daniel, for Children's Eye. That is one of her favorite books. It's coming
Mm-hmm.
out again. with newer illustrations. So that's another one that's in the works. And that book basically focuses on the story of Daniel, which is one of her favorite again. And it talks about the strength of Daniel, but it doesn't have thee and thy and though. It's actually explained to where a child can understand it. And so when I wrote the book, Heaven was upset that actually ended it. She was like, "That's it? No more? I'm gonna need you to write a book for each chapter of the Bible. What, why you stopped at Daniel and why it ended like this?" Um, I still count with my fingers because a lot of children still count with their fingers and they're picked on for that. And
Yes.
yes, so because you count with your fingers, that doesn't make you dumb. That doesn't make you unintelligent. It just makes you different to where you still count with your finger. I still count with my fingers. So it doesn't make you bad. We count with our fingers. It's okay. Until you get it, we all process things differently. And
Yeah.
because you process with your fingers and some people are quicker with math, math may not be your favorite subject.
Yeah.
Um, what other book I have? I have so many, and I'm
Goodness.
just trying to keep up. But it's all focused on my children and the things that they do and the things that I see, and to make sure that children are not bullied and that they're loved and that we know that their stories and we understand their struggle and we know what they're going through. And it helps me because I lived through my 12-year-old, because I know her struggles and her battles and being bullied and stuff like that. So my goal is to make at least 20 books by the end of this year. And so,
Whoa.
yeah.
Excellent.
But the crazy thing about it is God gave me the first initial vision. What God don't make junk. He woke me up out of my sleep. And I know a lot of people, like, when I tell a story, they're like, "Girl, go sit down somewhere." Because when I was asleep, because I just retired, and God had a vision for me. I always wanted to be a writer, but I never thought that I would actually write a book. And learning to be a survivor, I never thought of me as a true survivor. I just, I'm a survivor of domestic violence as well, 2 times survivor. And so I just thought I got beat up for nothing. So when people say, "Girl, you're really a survivor, you could have been killed," and I'm think about it, and I'm like, "You sure right." So they got people who actually care about us for real. Okay, not a problem. Okay. So with the book, the first book God gave me, he actually gave it to me in my sleep. And so it would be like 1:30 in the morning. And it happened like 3 nights in a row. And I know this sounds like so crazy, but God talks to you. He talks to you in your sleep. And I don't know how much of a believer you are. And not to question people's faith, but I am a true servant of my God. So at 1:30 in the morning, God was like, "Get up, I have a book for you." And I was like, "I'm asleep." Like, it's 1:30 in the morning. And so I was like, okay. And of course I tossed and turned. So the next night it came back to me again, the title, the words, everything. And I was like, "Come on, God. I'm asleep. I'm tired. I suffer with the mess. So I be really tired." And so the third night, he just kept smacking me, just like, "Get up." And so I got up like 2 o'clock in the morning and I wrote the book. My husband was like, "What are you doing?" "Writing the book." And so he was like, "Really, at 2 o'clock in the morning?" And I was like, "Yeah, God just told me to write the book." So I wrote the book. It went to I found a publisher online. The next day she just popped up out of nowhere. God, won't he do it? um and then she sent me to an editor, phenomenal editor that I still use today. um Her name is Lacey Swan. I love her so much. And then from there, my books just kept coming. And so God gives me titles and he gives me the words and I write them. And so I'm moving faster in writing books than people can actually help me publish them. So I have books just sitting in the computer waiting in a queue when it's usually vice versa. They waiting on work and I have the work for them. So God has been amazing in this whole journey, and I'm enjoying every minute of it because I'm praying. Like TD Jakes told me yesterday, he said, "It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter how many books you sell. Only thing that matters is, are you helping somebody with that book? Did you save somebody's life? Did somebody catch the message? And that is my main goal. I mean, I do care about whether my books are selling, but my main goal is, am I helping a child? Did somebody get to read it, and did they let it marinate in their brain to where somebody loves me? Whew, man, somebody could have got me. Heaven can look out this window and see a van just passing. She said, they ain't finna get me. They got dark
Very.
windows. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just been an amazing journey. I'm a talker. I'm sorry.
I am loving it. Um, so when did you first do your first book? Because you said your goal is to complete at least 20. So when did you do your first book?
My first book was done actually in August of last year. So they were completed by December of last year. They were pulled off the shelf January of this year. And so the illustrations and reformatting is being done on both of those. But we wanted to make sure this one was formatted, created, written um, in time for mental health awareness. Because once something like this happens to a child, it causes it's a domino effect. It causes PTSD. It causes a lot of things with a child. It's traumatic. And just like with me, when it happened to me and my parents, they again really didn't know, and they just recently, like maybe last year, I want to say like last year, year before last. I'm in my 40s, deep in my 40s. I'm just not gonna say how deep, but I'm deep, like real deep in my 40s. And my parents like are so apologetic that they didn't realize. But back in those days, things like that were not talked about. It just it came and it went, and it was just like, okay, you can tell somebody that Uncle Mike or Uncle Fred is talking dirty to me, and they'll say, go sit down somewhere with your little hot self or something like that. So it was just kind of bypassed, and it just didn't make sense to tell people. And even on the movies, it just didn't make sense to tell people, I think Uncle Frank trying to get me. You know, there are two movies. Precious showed where she was constantly getting raped by her mom's boyfriend, and then there's the Caucasian version of the movie. I forgot what it's called, but it's with Julia Roberts, and I think it's called America's. I think it's America's, but the lady, she had 5 kids and she worked, and so she had a new boyfriend, and with the new boyfriend, for some reason she came home early, and when she came home early, her I think her 12-year-old was being raped. All the other kids were terrified in another room, but she caught him and he beat her up while they were fighting, because he was her 12-year-old. So it happens. And so when things like that happen, children do five of one of five things. They start to dress differently. They get quiet. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to go to school. Um, and they just become really, really disrespectful. Their whole demeanor changes. And with me, I got more disrespectful. I lost my self-worth because the way I dressed changed. It was like my purity was already ripped away from me. So why even care anymore? My self-esteem had dropped. It was like I had no one to talk to. I didn't have a best friend to talk to. So it was just a number of mental health. I was deep in depression. My parents didn't really realize, because I really didn't have that connection like I have the connection with my children. I have a deep connection with my children. We literally talk about everything. I have to warn them, before you send me a picture, Lord, warn me before I open up this phone. Um, but I love it. And I know people say you cannot be your children's best friend, but you can. And that is how you open up these type of conversations. I thank God I'm able to have these type of conversations with my children, because man, this world is has become so ignorant about different things. They don't want to talk to their children. They don't want to um, talk about reality. They want to more talk about imagination and talk about what is to come. Everybody, my son gonna be a football player one day. He's 12. He's gonna be this, that, and the other. But are you preparing him for what he has to go through before he becomes 18? Because it happens to males as well. You know,
Absolutely.
they even in the Catholic society, they raise males, mainly the males, but
Yeah.
it happens.
Yes.
You, you're when you're putting your daughters on these videos, Instagram or whatever, with the lipstick and having them dance, they're predators that are watching them. I understand you're looking at, yeah, they may have 217K views, but they're watching how your daughters are moving, how they're dressed half in the bathing suits, and they're only 8 and 9 and 10. And then they're figuring out where you live. They're figuring out what Target they go to when they're alone by themselves. And then the moms are crying, oh my God, my baby. You didn't protect them. You put them out there to the predators. You gave them to the predators. And that is exactly what I do not want to do with my children. And that's what I'm trying to stop from other parents doing. You're gonna do your business. I understand this the rap and all this other stuff. Your mama, my mama, if we had wore something, just excuse me, short, oh my God, a belt will be wrapped around my head probably twice. Girl, if you don't go take that foolishness off. But nowadays, I mean, we were in the mall and my daughter was just like, Mama, she got them pants on, it's see-through, and then you just see her drawers. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I know, right? She said, I'll never put that on. Cheerleading, the fact that they wore makeup, she didn't never want to be a cheerleader. So she's a gymnast. Now, once she does her gymnastic stuff, because most of her body is covered, other than this part here, she does her stuff and she immediately puts her pants back on. Nobody can cheer for her. Nobody can say anything. And then we can talk about it after. And that's just the way she's very protective of her body, her purity. She's not interested in boys. Thank you, Jesus. And it's just it's a wonderful thing. And then for her to love this book and to ask me the questions about purity and to say, why did he do that? And to ask me, um, mama, so no means no. So he went in and he stole that from her. Yes, he stole something that was very pure, but he was wrong for that. Yes, he was wrong for that. He was not supposed to do that. So if anything or anybody touches you inappropriately, you tell mama, and mama gonna pull out Denise, and we gonna take care of it from there, and that's gonna be that. And she already knows Denise gonna handle it. So yeah, and I'm gonna leave Denise
So,
right there.
okay. So, with the family portion of this story, I know that's one of the most difficult aspects of sharing. Um, is your brother still around, or what were some of the ramifications involving that?
So he does not live here. And that's the sad part about it. When the Another sad part about it, when you don't tell, they still get to live their best lives. So with my daughter, 16, well, when it happened to her, she was like 15. I think she was 15 when it happened to her. And when she finally told me, you know, I wanted to go get him. But she was like, Mom, it happened a couple of years. We had to look them up, Facebook them, everything. But the fact of the flashbacks of everything happening, not wanting to call the police, the embarrassment, this, that, and the other. Her feeling that, Mom, I know you told me this a million times, and me explaining to her it wasn't her fault. Her being 15 and him being 24, he took it from her. And so with my brother, he took it from me. And my brother was 21 at the time, and he was babysitting me. So he does not live here in this state. We do not communicate. We don't talk. And if we get in the same room together, if we are forced, I'll say that, because funeral wise, and that would be the only reason, funeral wise. Um, the last funeral we went to, we almost ended up fighting at the funeral, because just his mere presence, it ignites a sense of being uncomfortable, being vulnerable, and because he talks as though nothing ever happened, or how are you? How do you think I am? As though I was supposed to forget because I was young. And my mind is there. It brings me back as though I'm 12 again. Um, yes, you're older than me. Yes, you've changed your life. Yes, you've done this, you've done that. My life is going wonderfully. But the fact that remains, you're still living, you're still breathing. You didn't serve any time, you didn't have any ramifications. You're living your best life. And that bothers me. So we try to stay as far away from each other because I do not look good in orange, unless it's something I put on myself. Um, so the family part is not there. My parents no longer, since they found out, they no longer deal with them either. Um, and he knows why. We said one word, and we mentioned the word pony in the middle of a discussion. And from that comment, it just, he doesn't reach out, and my parents don't reach out because, my mom has still been apologetically sorry. And then after she read this book, she was like, so this is what happened. And I said, yes, this is similar to what happened. And so, names changed, of course. And so she's just like, I'm just sorry I wasn't there. But at the same time, back in those days, nobody cared. Nobody wanted to hear that. Girl, go sit down. Nobody looking at you like that. But then we couldn't wear stuff like that because the belt would be wrapped around our head like 2 or 3 times. But then you wouldn't expect that either, from a family member. It happened. Just like with Oprah and Maya Angelou and, other celebrities who have finally told their truth. It happened, and people just didn't exploit it the way they should have. I told you I'm a rambler. I'm sorry.
Carrying something around for 40 years and things
Yeah.
like that. This is the purpose of writing a book and
Right.
packaging this thing up so that you can be a healing to someone else. So
Right.
I mean, you just can't cover it all in 10 minutes. So I
Right.
understand that. I just really wanted to know what those are some of the things that hold people back from sharing their stories is a question that I ask. What happened to him? What happened to your daughter's assaulter? You know, and how we go about that. And just sometimes just trying to survive is just leave it alone. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
And
and
that's
that's what it
why
truly
I don't
is.
want them to leave it alone. I want them to speak up.
Yes.
Don't be terrified. If somebody tells you don't tell, you tell. You tell. You find you somebody that you truly trust, and you tell. You don't be afraid. You tell somebody. Nobody's going to hurt your family. Once you tell, regardless if it's a pinky promise is only secure with your mom or your sister or your best friend. Other than that, a pinky promise means nothing with nobody else. And I need you to understand that. If you're listening to me, a pinky promise is a wonderful thing. I pinky promise with my children all the time. But if it's somebody who has hurt you, if it's somebody who has taken something from you, a secret that hurts you is not a good secret to keep.
Did
Tell
you,
somebody.
I'm sorry, Michelle,
Go ahead.
how long did the abuse go on? Was it just an isolated incident for you, or did it go on for a period of
It
time?
actually happened. It actually happened for about a year. Um, and I didn't even realize what was going on until it escalated to that last point. And I mean, just the thought of, because at first it started off small, and then it went, and then it went, and then it went, and then it went. And so being young and not being taught about different things, my parents really didn't give me the talk about menstruals and this, that, and the other. So I never really had anybody to give me those talks about the male parts and the female parts and how to interact and stuff like that. So um, I allowed it to go on because I didn't know any better. I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was, what was going on, until finally it was taken. And then at that point, when it was finally taken, he was gone. He went, I think he requested to go by his mom, his real mom. Again, he was my stepbrother. And then he was gone. He told my dad he wanted to go by his mom, and he was gone. And then
Oh,
I didn't see him for years.
got you, got you, got you. So it's just the grooming process for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then it built up
Mm-hmm.
to the day. And is there any parting words that you would like to share, or
I
before
think
we?
I've said a lot.
I
Because
just
I'm
have
going to do that to you.
oh, well, thanks so much for being here and taking the time out to share your story and your truth and being so transparent and also having something that's valuable to share with young ladies and men too, to
Mm-hmm.
for safety and health awareness. So I appreciate that. And I
I
thank you
thank
so
you for the
much for taking.
platform. I greatly appreciate the platform and the opportunity to come and speak with you. You have a wonderful platform, and
You.
I'm elated that you even invited me.
Thank you so much. And I will talk to you again soon. Okay.
I thank you. Bye, you guys.
Bye.